Jaya Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Natira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yo Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I want to share the screen. Can you give permission actually?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You are the co-host now. You are the co-host.
Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. So we will be discussing on third canto, 6th chapter, text number 1 and 2. So before that, let me just recite the prayers. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namo Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashadeshatane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Kam Karati Vachala Pangalangai Pashi Guru Chaitanya Paramananda Ishvara Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. So let me just start. Okay, so this is a very nice verse. So we have completed uh, fifth chapter. And now we go to sixth chapter, you know, uh, of third canto. Okay, so let me just recite this verse. ऋषिरुवाच इति तस्मत् स्वशक्तीनां शक्तीनाम् अस्मति सह परुषुप्तलोकतन्त्राणां निश्यम्य गतिमीश्वरः. Let me read the purport. The Rishi Maitreya said, the Lord thus heard about the suspension of progressive creative function of the universe due to the non-combination of his potency, such as Maha Tattva. There is nothing, purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. There is nothing wanting in the creation of Lord. All the potencies are there in dormant state. But unless they are combined by the will of Lord, nothing can progress. The suspended progressive work of creation can only be revived by the direction of the Lord. Let us read the second verse also. Kalasanyam tada devim vibraha chaktim urukramaha त्रयो विकसति तत्त्वानां गणानां युगापत् अविशत्. Let me read word by word meaning. Kala Sanyam, known as Kali, Tada, at that time, Devi, the goddess, Vibrahat, the destructive, Shakti, potency, Urukramaha, the supreme powerful, Trayaha, Vimsati, 23, Tattvana, of the elements, Ganam, of all them, Yogapatam, simultaneously, as Avisat entered. Okay. The supreme powerful Lord then simultaneously entered into the 23 elements with the goddess Kali, his external energy, who alone amalgamates all the different elements. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The ingredients of matter are counted as 23. The total material energy, false ego, sound, touch, form, taste, smell, earth, water, fire, air, sky, ear, nose, tongue, skin, and leg, vacating organs, genital, speech, and mind. All are combined together by the influence of time and are again dissolved in the course of time. Time, therefore, is the energy of Lord, acts in our own way by the direction of the Lord. This energy is called as Kali and is represented by the dark, destructive goddess generally worshipped by the persons influenced by the mode of darkness or ignorance in the material existence. In the Vedic hymns, this process is described as Mula Prakritim Avritir Mahadayaha Prakritir Vikrataha Saptadoshodaksha tu Vikraho Na Prakritir Na Vikritir Purushaha. Energy which acts as a material nature in the combination of 23 ingredients is not the final source of creation. The Lord enters into the elements and applies his energy called Kali. In all other Vedic scriptures, the same principle is accepted. In Brahma Samhita, it is said, I worship the primeval Lord, Govinda, who is the original personality of Godhead. By his partial planetary expansion, Mahavishnu, he enters into material nature and then into each and every universe as Garbhodakshi Vishnu and then as a Kshirodakshi Vishnu into all the elements, including every atom of matter. Such manifestation of cosmic creation are innumerable. both in the universe and in the individual atoms. Okay, we'll finish this last paragraph also. Bhagavad Gita 10:42 it says, Atva bahu naitena kim janetena tavarjunaha vistam vayam idam krishnam ekam sena stito jagat. Oh Arjuna, there is no necessity of your knowing about my innumerable energies which act in various ways. I enter into this material creation by my partial planary expansion, Paramatma or Super Soul, in all the universes and in all the elements thereof, and thus the work of creation goes on. The wonderful activities of matter nature are due to the Lord Krishna, and thus is the final cause or the ultimate cause of all causes. Govinda Madhipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Okay, so we will just see what you know. Yeah. So let me just bring it to yeah. So this is a very nice chapter, and this is the first verse of this sixth chapter. So what we saw in the fifth chapter till now, okay, Vidura is on what to say? He was on a pilgrimage, and then he meets Uddhava, and then he comes to know about Krishna passing away, and then Uddhava mentions like Krishna instructed him in the before leaving this world. And then Vidura asks him, please instruct me on this matter. And then Uddhava, he doesn't what to say. He says, I want to instruct you, but uh, there is Maitreya Rishi. So Maitreya Rishi was in age-wise elder to Uddhava, and also like because to keep this tradition, he says you can learn this information from Maitreya Rishi. And Maitreya Rishi also had heard the same instruction. Now we will understand who is Maitreya Rishi. Just a little description is given. We check in Bhagavatam. So it mentions he's a Dvaipanya Saka. So he's a friend of Vyasadeva. Okay. So since he's a friend of Vyasadeva, he's kind of a okay. We can understand like usually friends they share the thoughts, and so similarly on the same lines, Vyasadeva, who has written Srimad Bhagavatam, we can understand Maitreya Rishi also having a similar kind of a knowledge. And since he was given an opportunity by Lord Krishna to hear the instructions, which he gave to Uddhava, while finally he was going back to his abode. So that pastime. So Maitreya Rishi is like heard those all information. So that is how we come to know what is position of Maitreya Rishi. And then Uddhava goes. I mean to say Uddhava goes to further north, and he goes for penance or meditating on the Lord. And Vidura is hearing this process of creation. Vidura asked me, tell me about the Lord, and tell me how he has created all those, because we want to understand. And for our, for understanding of general public also, he asked this question. Okay, now this is general information. And in the fifth chapter, we see, creation is described. And then after the different elements are created. Okay, so after around so many elements are created, then we see, you know, uh, uh, the final shlokas of fifth chapter, which talks about demigods. They feel, the Lord creates elements, and then He creates controlling deities or demigods, and these demigods pray, We are not qualified, my lord. We are not able to do our work, to carry out the assigned work. So in that case, the creation is kind of a suspension. So that is what the first shloka talks about. So we talks about the this thing is created, elements are created, uh, and demigod are also created, but they are not yet amalgamated, or they are not combined together. So they are in a kind of a state of suspension. So that is what demigods are praying. So that is kind of a end of what is it, fifth chapter. In sixth chapter, first shloka talks about how the creation is suspended. Then in the second text, first shloka and second shloka, it talks about 23 or 24 elements. So these are the same thing which also comes in the Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter, text number 7. No, so first is a kind of a Mahatattva, okay, and then there is like yeah, in this Mahatattva also we see there is a 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether, and then there is kind of a 5 knowledge acquiring senses for this. Okay, so the uh, yeah, so eyes, nose, ears, skin, and tongue. Okay, and then 5 working senses, which is kind of a voice, okay, legs, hands, anus, genital, and then 5 objects of senses. So all this, form, smell, sound, touch, taste, and then mind, intelligence, false ego is there. Okay, these are the 24 elements which are there in a kind of a suspended status. Okay, then what happens? The purport talks about. Okay, so now we have to understand, like even when the forming of this element, like one subtle element is there, like sky is there, and Krishna glances upon that. From the sky, the second gross element will come, kind of fire or electricity will come. From then there comes I think from sky air comes, from air comes the fire, and from fire comes like what is it, little grosser, which is water, and then for water kind of earth comes. So the main ingredient is kind of a uh, the glance of the Lord. So without the glance of the Lord, nothing works. Similarly, when these all elements are in a suspended state, so it is the Lord, who comes as Kala. He is a Kala, and his energy is called as a Kali. You know, his energy is called as Kali. That is what Prabhupada is mentioning here. Okay, and in the shloka, how it is mentioned, Kala Sajnanam, you know, Kala Sajnanam, and Prabhupada translates as Kali. Okay, so yeah, and then Prabhupada gives a further information. This is the same Kali who is worshipped by the people in the mode of darkness, or we know about more about that. So she is also called as a one of the energy, who takes care of a material nature, or we also call it as a Durga. Okay, so that is what. And then Prabhupada talks about Brahma Samhita, how Andara Andantara, he enters in each of the universes. Okay, so yak asti jagat anda chaya yat antaha antarantara sta paramanu chayantra stam. So so we can go to this PPT. Yeah. So we can understand from the macro level till the micro level. So Krishna's planetary expansion as a Mahavishnu, okay, who's lying down in a kind of yoga nidra. from whom so many universes come out. And to the each universe he enters. And as a Garbhodakshi Vishnu, from his navel Brahma comes. And then, also he expands as a Kshirodakshi Vishnu or a Paramatma. So all the atom, even a atom which has to stay in a place, it does not collapse. Okay, so somebody has to take care of that. Similarly, so many planets are there, they follow the path, they don't collide with each other, or they don't collapse. So that is taken kind care by Kshirodakshi Vishnu, because he enters to them and he holds that. So that information we can understand from Brahma Samhita. Okay, then we can go further. Okay, so Krishna as a Kala. So we understand, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Kalos me. So I am the time. And his energy is kind of a, Kali. Then in Bhagavad Gita also he explains how he is, destroying everybody and again, creating everything. Okay. So we, in today's purport, Prabhupada talks about, his energy, Kali, who is kind of, also the Mother Parvati or goddess, who is external energy of the Lord. So when we talk about this, so I remember one pastime of Jada Bharat. So we know how Mother Kali, even though the people who are in the mode of ignorance usually worship her, because her husband, Lord Shiva, it is said, he who does not जिसका कोई नहीं होता तो उसका तो Lord I mean say Lord Shiva is always there. If nobody is there, so even bhutas, pretas, rakshasas, Lord Shiva is so merciful that he gives his association to all of them. So similarly, Mother Parvati, she's been usually worshipped, by the people who are in the mode of ignorance. So they can get a lot of, material, you know, objects to gratify their material senses. Okay, but she likes the devotee of Lord Vishnu because she herself worship Krishna. So there is a pastime of how in Bhagavatam it comes how Jada Bharat once is taken by this what to say Jada Bharat is once is taken by people who are worshipper of Kali and they want to sacrifice Jada Bharat, and then they make it they bathe him and everything they do, and finally they are about to kill Jada Bharat, and then the mother Kali, she comes out of the what to say her deity and she kills all of them, because she doesn't want devotee of Lord Vishnu to be hurt. She kinds of takes, she likes the devotee of Lord Vishnu. So similarly, we understand around in Mayapur, and so there is one how we talk about Mother Parvati or Kali. So similarly, her husband, Lord Shiva. Okay, so in Mayapur there is one temple. Okay, and there is one deity. So this deity is called as a Hamsa Vahana. Hamsa Vahana, or what is it? Yeah. So this is Hamsa Vahana deity. So the Lord Shiva. So if you see this deity, so Lord Shiva is kind of sleeping in this one. Okay, and this is Hamsa. So once what happened? There was this the Kumaras. I think Kumaras, they were kind of discussing. Okay, sorry, the sages headed by Shonaka. Okay, Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami was discussing, okay, the pastime of Gauranga, and uh, Lord Shiva heard this, and because his what to say his Vahana or his carrier is little slow, so he asked for Lord Brahma for his carrier. So his carrier is Hamsa, and that is quite fast. So he asked for his carrier, and then he sat on that, and then he came. So because this is so fast, I know we can see Lord Shiva is kind of lying. I mean to say he's lying back in the Hamsa. So this deity, like is supposed to be was very hot, and then that is the reason they used to keep it underwater. But some time back, they had somebody, some Muslims or somebody stole this deity, and then there was a directive, and then that deity was later found out in a jungle under a tree. So then they told, don't keep it underwater, worship it. So that is the reason it was kind of worshipped thereafter in 2005, I think so. And to keep the deity cold, so hot water has been put. And the glory of this deity is there, if some pure devotee offers a flower, bud, so then his wishes or the devotee is pure, then this flower will kind of blossom. So I also saw this deity. So when I had gone for Navdeep Mandal Parikrama, so basically, Lord Shiva was so eager to hear the pastime of Gauranga Mahaprabhu that he took a deity, or I mean, say he took the carrier of Brahma. So that is how, sweet the pastime of Gauranga Mahaprabhu is there. Okay. So on the same line, one day what happened? So there is another pastime which talks about, no, see, so Lord Shiva is there. Now also there is, Mother Parvati. So we are talking about, Kali, who is an expansion of, who is an energy of Lord. So we see how, she is kind of merciful towards devotee. Okay, like her husband. Yeah. So what happened? One day, there was in a Satyuga. Yeah, Lord Shiva was kind of a dancing, he was dancing lot of ecstasy. And then, mm, yeah, okay, so Lord Shiva was dancing in kind of a very ecstasy. And then Mother Parvati asked him, okay, why you are, dancing? So then she says, Lord Shiva was telling Gauranga, Gauranga. So then Mother Parvati told, I have heard many other mantras which you have given, but this mantra is so, so nice. Please tell me more about this Gauranga mantra. What is this? So then on this, Lord Shiva says, in Kali Yuga, I will be, born. I will accept the mode of Radharani. Okay. So because you are a part, you are expansion of Srimati Radharani. So I will take the mode of, Krishna has told this. Also Lord Shiva says he, uh, Krishna will accept the mode of Radharani, and he will take birth in Kali Yuga in Navdip. Okay, and then he will born as a Sachinandan, the son of Sachimata, and he will be mad, and he will be chanting the holy names, and he will be giving this, wealth of prema, which no other avatar has given. So that will be given by Lord Krishna when he takes birth as a Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Okay, so that is the reason I cannot control my mind hearing after this. My Lord Krishna is coming as, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and he will be distributing the mercy. I don't want to stay in Kashi. I want to go to Mayapur. So similarly, we heard the past time how Lord Shiva is there in, one of the form. He's there in, like, Hamsa Vahana. So hearing this, Mother Parvati also told, I also want to have the darshan of this, Gaurang Mahaprabhu, the Lord. So then she came into this Shimant Dweep. This is a place where this Jagannath temple is there. So you might be knowing, near to Mayapur, there is a Jagannath temple is there. So in the same place, there is, near to that place in that Dvipa, Mother Parvati, she did a lot of penances, and she did the penance, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Gauranga form, he came in front of her and he gave her darshan. So she told, like, my lord, always wherever you are there, I cannot be there, so jahan hote kishte nahi mayara adhikar. So I have to be, as a shadow. So please bless me, like, so then Gaurang Mahaprabhu told ki, I will be born here, and this will be my this thing. And Mother Parvati, she applied the dust of lotus feet of Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu onto her head, kind of here. So which is called as a Shimanti. So that is the reason that place is called as Shimantadeep. And Mother Parvati is always there in that Navdeep as a proud Maya, you know. So that is there. So that is a pastime of how Mother Parvati is there. Similarly, there is one more pastime of like, what to say, Vimala Devi. So this is the same energy which we are referring to, external energy, uh, like, Mother Parvati. So once what happened, Narad Muni, he was serving Lord Mother Lakshmi for kind of many days, around a month or so. And then finally, Mother Lakshmi was so happy. And then she asked, what boon you want? And then, like, Narad told, ki, I want Mahaprasad, Mahaprasad of Narayan. So Mother Lakshmi told, it is quite difficult to get that, because Lord doesn't usually share. So then she was kind of intense. And then Narayana saw this and he told, ki, what is worry, So then she told, this Narad wants this thing, how I can give him. So then he told, okay, for today, you give it, but tell him not to eat in front of me. He can go away and he can have that. And then Narad Muni, he took that Mahaprasad, and then he had it, and then out of ecstasy he was kind of dancing, and then he reached Kailash, the place of Lord Shiva, and there Lord Shiva saw him. What happened? Why you're dancing so much? So then he, while dancing, he told, "Ki I had the Mahaprasad," and then Lord Shiva told, "Ki you are my brother. From Brahma, we both are kind of a children of Brahma. So you are my brother. So you should give me also some part of Mahaprasad." So then Narad, he told, "Oh, I have already finished it." Then he was kind of examining his hands. Then he saw in his finger, between his finger nails, there was a little, what to say, uh, particle of Mahaprasad was left. So then Lord Shiva had that. And after having that, he also, kind of felt so much ecstasy that he also started dancing. Then he was dancing in a kind of a, tandav. So he was doing his tandav dance. And then Mother Parvati came and she inquired, what happened, my lord? This is not the time for destruction. So why you're dancing like this? So Lord Shiva told, ki, I got Mahaprasad, Mahaprasad Narad Muni gave me. And then Mother inquired, ki, uh, ki, I am your Ardhangini, I am your wife. So where is my part of Mahaprasad? So then he told, ki, Arey, oh, sorry, I just, I just got one particle and I just finished it up. And because of which, Mother Parvati became very angry and she started, destroying the world. And she became so angry. And then, all demigods prayed to Lord Narayana, please come, Mother Parvati has become so angry. And then Mother Parvati, Lord Narayana came on his Garuda. And as soon as Parvati Devi saw Narayana, she came forward and paid obeisances. And Lord Narayana blessed his devotee and told, don't worry, I will give you as much prasad you want. Be specified, give up your anger, otherwise your children will be finished, kind of, So then mother told, no, no, I will not be satisfied until the moment you should give prasad not only to me, you should give your Mahaprasad to all of my children and all living entities. I don't want any of them to suffer like how I am suffering, because of deprived of Mahaprasad. So you should also not only give to living no, humans, even dogs, you should to give them your own Mahaprasad. So then, what to say? Lord I agreed and he blessed her. And then he told, in Kali Yuga, I will come in the form of Jagannath. So I will come in Nilachal. So, and then there I will be famous for distributing my Mahaprasad. And whoever takes this Mahaprasad will be liberated. And not only humans, everybody will be able to get it. So, first Mahaprasad, Jagannath, so we know us, we are all worshipping Lord Jagannath. So we know in Jagannath Puri, everything will be offered to Lord Jagannath. And then everything is kind of becomes Mahaprasad. And first it will be offered to, Vimala Devi, and then it will be given to everybody. So that is, a kind of a pastime which I remembered. Okay, and even because it didn't give Mahaprasad, I mean to say Lord Shiva didn't give Mahaprasad. So that is the reason, he will, Lord says he will have a temple outside the courtyard. So that is a pastime of, kind of a Mahaprasad. So we remember the pastime of, okay, so Vimala Devi, Kali. So now we understand. So what is the work of, Mother uh, Durga or Parvati? Okay, so her work is to keep all the living entity who are not obeying or who are creating a disturbance in the spiritual world, in the Maya world, or the illusionary world, where they can think they are kind of a god. Okay, and this kind of a Durga, or kind of a jail, which means, which will bind the people. But this special jail does not have any kind of a wall, or it does not have a, visible chains, but the attachment and illusion. So this will be kind of a walls of this uh, jail, and this material body is like, uniform for this jail. So, and she is kind of a controlling, and she has a various, trick. Sometimes she will give some benefit, and sometimes she will, give troubles. So that, like how sometime, in the earlier times when a thief used to commit any mistake, or a thief used to commit any crime. So how he used to be punished by king was, he was, made to, near river, he used to be brought, and then his head is to be submerged into the water for around a minute or so. And as soon as, he's about to kind of become breathless, so then again his head is brought out of water so that he can breathe. Then he will feel, oh yeah, this is a happiness. Similar in this material world, we can see, sometime when problems come, we are underwater, we are suffering so much, and then you had this removed. So that is not kind of a real happiness. That is kind of a period when there is no worries, or there is no suffering. So which is called as a, happiness in this material world. Again you breathe for some 2 3 times, and then submerge again into the water. Okay, so similarly this is kind of a which Mother Parvati does. And as even I was kind of, when I was reading this purport, I was also seeing, first time, how Mother Parvati is, or goddess Kali, who is like the energy of a Lord, because Lord is Kala. Kala's, he's a time. So he's a time himself, and his energy is Kali. And this time destroys everything. Everything in this material world is kind of under the influence of time. So there is nothing which is not having the influence of time. The only one thing, which is on which the time does not work is, when somebody does a Shravana, Kirtana. So that is what how we can get out of this material world. Kind of, yeah. Okay, so we can see that, yeah. For this example of Shravana and Kirtana, we can remember Haridas Thakur. And what does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says? How we should do this Kirtan or Shravan? Trinarapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Saishina, Amanina Mantena, Kirtanya Sadahari. We should always remember Lord Hari. We can have an example of Haridas Thakur, or we can have example of six Goswamis. So six Goswamis, it is said, these two hardly do their material things for 2 hours. In the 2 hours out of 24 hours, they used to do everything else, and remaining 22 hours they used to worship the Lord. Like Haridas Thakur used to chant 192 rounds. Similarly, uh, Raghunath Das Goswami used to do his bhajan, or Rupa Goswami used to write, Sanatan Goswami. So like all the six Goswamis who are like kind of a uh, idol, or hero of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And also we see Srila Prabhupada, because I was hearing one lecture yesterday in which Prabhupada was talking about Kirtaniya Sada Hari. So it should be always the discussion about Krishna and his devotees. And we can understand how Prabhupada, just with the taking the holy name. So he went to Western countries only carrying some 40 rupees, which was not even convertible. You cannot convert into dollar in that place. And he went there and he took this holy name and he distributed, and he made so many people devotee. And we can see the complete ISKCON was kind of a founded. Yeah. And so wherever he goes, whether he's writing, writing books, or whether he's giving lecture, which is also kind of kirtan. So in that lecture, Prabhupada was mentioning, kirtan is not only people singing or devotees singing with the melodious tune and the instrument. It's not. It is also the discussion about the Lord. So when the Bhagavatam lecture is there, we are discussing the pastime of Krishna or his devotees. So that is also a kirtan. And for Prabhupada, kind of doing this kirtan everywhere throughout the world, he set up this complete ISKCON. And on the same path, if we follow, so that is a way how we can get out of this material world. Okay. Yeah. So let me just see if I have left out anything. Yeah. Super crazy. Yeah. Mm. Okay. Yeah. And finally, as the Bhagavad Gita, this thing says, you know, the wonderful activities of matter nature are due to the Krishna, and thus is the final cause or ultimate cause of all causes. So everything, how the material creation happens, we can understand in every different stage of material creation. It's Lord finally, who comes in picture and does this creation. So that is we are talking about. And also in the previous shloka, we were reading how this material world is formed from Krishna, and from you know uh, even though it is complete, uh, uh, until the moment does not the Lord does not glance upon that, it will not proceed with its completion, or the creation will not get completed. So that is what I had to discuss about this verse. Okay, so is there any questions for me, or we can wind up here?
घुमा के आसमान नजर आ रहा है, वो से उलटो, उसको उलटो, पहले जैसा हम रखते हैं।
Hare Krishna. Any queries?
अभी मत बोलना क्या बोलना
Okay,
any question
so yeah, so we will end
हरे
here.
कृष्णा प्रभु जी
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, कोई सवाल है क्या?
थैंक यू प्रभु जी अभी
Thank
थैंक यू दर्शन करने के लिए शुक्रिया हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna.
तरफ
Thank
से
you everyone.
दंडवत प्रणाम
Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, like as you said, Krishna glance and a number of living entities do come.
Mhm.
So, are the living entities keep coming like this, or it's a limited once he glances and everything comes, or is it continuous process?
So how it is happens is like, for example, we do our work and then we go to sleep and then again we get up. So this living entity, until they go back to Godhead, they will be there in, this creation. So once the, one devotee was asking when this all suffering will end, So the other, the senior devotee was saying, once when the Lord Vishnu starts inhaling, so till that moment. So basically what will happen, this creation has happened. And once the Lord inhales everything, again it will go to, kind of Mahatattva. And again, when he creates again, these living entities will always again will be there. And then he glances and this kind of a living entity will start his work again. So for example, we change the body and we don't remember what we kind of did in previous life, but soul has these desires. These desires is carrying from so many lifetimes. I want this, so in this lifetime it is not completed. I might have forgotten everything, my body would have changed, but my the desire will be there. And then again next body I will take and I will start trying to do that. Similarly, when this Mahavishnu inhales everything and when he exhales, okay, this living entity will be there. He has this his desire, and then he kind of a glances, and then he will kind of wake up, and then again he will start kind of his activity. So this is how we understand this. How these living entities are kind of continuing. So on the same ground, like somebody was asking, even though we don't remember our previous life, why we are getting the results of that, why I'm suffering. I did something in my previous life, I don't even remember that problem, what mistake I have done that, but in this life I am suffering. This we understand, like even though we don't remember all those, but we have that mentality, we have that subtle desires until the moment our this thing doesn't get purified. And how we can get our the consciousness purified? So it says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Cheto Darpan Marjana, by chanting the holy name. When we chant the holy name, Krishna comes to our heart, and he, already, I mean to say, he's there as a Paramatma, and he starts cleaning our heart. And once only our heart or our consciousness is kind of a clean, only then we can go back to Godhead. And how is that place of spiritual world? We know, look, where there is no more suffering. Not only suffering, there is a lot of pleasure while serving the Lord. So it to some extent it answers your query, Prabhu. You are kind of a Hare Krishna.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll end our